Welcome to the Wolverine Confidential Podcast. I'm Andrew Kahn.
I'm Ryan Zook.
And I'm Aaron McMahon.
It was a busy holiday weekend for the Michigan football program on the recruiting front. From commitments to flips to surprising choices, we break down the recent events. Several Michigan basketball players were in action last weekend in FIBA events. We discuss their performances and more coming up on Wolverine Confidential. All right, guys, good to be with you here Tuesday morning, July 8th. And we're going to start with some football recruiting. A lot of news over the 4th of July weekend. Michigan added 2 4-star players, one on each side of the ball. Lost a 4-star player who was already committed. He flipped to a different school. And then they lost a battle for a still different 4-star player. Ryan, I trust that at some point in one of your stories, you referred to the fireworks of recruiting weekend. Yes?
Yes. And it was, it's, it was I'll say eventful weekend because just even like the videos where some of these kids were announcing just were wild and yeah, some unexpected twists and turns to some of these decisions too. I went into the weekend thinking Michigan had a good shot at landing all 3 of these guys, and I didn't really see Brody I expected Brody Jennings to flip at some point to an SEC school or somewhere down south, and he did end up flipping to Miami. I just didn't expect it to happen during the 4th of July weekend too. So he's the one prospect commit Michigan lost. Wasn't really expected. He's from Florida. Attends Jacksonville or attends a high school in Jacksonville. His father recently passed away too, so makes sense that he's staying closer to home. Had taken multiple trips to other schools over the past couple months. But yeah, I mean, he had been committed to Michigan since July 2024, so one of the longest standing verbal pledges in Michigan's class. But yeah, they replaced him with Dorian Barney, a 4-star cornerback from Carrollton, Georgia. A huge get for the Wolverines, a 6'1" corner who can also play nickel and ranked as the number 148th prospect in the country. But it was one of the strangest live commitment streams I've seen since I've been covering Michigan. I mean, he did it on the Rivals YouTube page, and he was sitting down about to make his announcement and then stands up, grabs a hat off camera, and went to put it on, and while he did that, it was only briefly entered the frame, but you couldn't tell what logo it was, and it was kind of dark, and people Penn State was one of the other finalists, and people in the chat were thinking it was Penn State. So he grabs the hat, but he doesn't say I'm committed to whatever school, and he brings everyone in the frame, and it would look to be mostly his family, and then he brings them over out to somewhere that you couldn't really see it. His was outside in front of their garage, but then Rivals puts the graphic on the screen that he committed to Michigan, but you couldn't hear him say that or see anything that showed that. But obviously they worked this out beforehand, and he told him yeah, I mean everyone kind of knew Michigan was going to be the school there, but it was just really weird how it went down. So yeah, I mean, and then the last few minutes of the live stream, you just see the paneling of the garage outdoor, or yeah. So and you hear people cheering and stuff, but you have no idea what's going on. And then later on, it was the actual video got released of what actually happened, and he opened the garage door, and it was a blown up photo of him in a Michigan uniform saying that he was committed, and balloons and all that stuff. But it was just a really awkward frame, visual to see him committing and then they started in the last 30 seconds, Rivals started playing highlights of him because what are people going to do? Just look at this blank, empty or white paneling of a garage. It was just insane. So
we watch these things, so you, the listener, don't have to. That's how I look at it. We'll watch it, we'll get the information, we'll put it out there, so you don't have to. Sometimes I don't want to say waste your time and take away from these kids' shine, but it is funny. I mean, some of these I've watched where it's kind of a long interview beforehand, and it's like, all right, it's time, and they're like, oh man, like this is really tough. It's like, have you made up your mind yet? Like you didn't have to, you chose to do it here, and you seem still a little torn on the decision. It's funny stuff.
Right, right. And it's like it was like at 4:30 on a Saturday of a holiday weekend.
Yep,
So like
there
I
you
mean I
go.
would yeah, so like it's always like I mean good for it makes sense for why these kids are committed over the holiday weekend. It's always a really busy recruiting weekend for commitments, but it's just like also like for people that cover it, it's like man, it's supposed to be a holiday and you guys are announcing your college decisions and but yeah, this weekend was one of the most interesting. We'll start off with Travis. We'll move on to Travis Johnson before we go into the whole Kelvin Russell um, decision there, and that it's yeah, seems to be improving their receiver recruiting a little bit. 4-star from Oster Smith High School in Virginia had over 1,000 receiving yards last year. I mean, his highlight tape shows every type of play, like back shoulder fades, contested catches, and double coverage, end arounds, quick screens. I mean, you name it. He did it all for them. He gives Michigan a nice 1-2 punch with Zion Robinson. Both are 6'3" wideouts ranked inside the top 150. They have another receiver committed, Jalen Pyle from Texas. He's a 3-star, but like I mean, he put up massive numbers as a junior and could potentially be a riser heading into his senior year. So it's like, all right, you got 3 heading into Saturday night. The big fish is right there to potentially reel in. Would be one of the highest ranked receiver recruits in Michigan in the internet era for the Wolverines. All the experts thought Michigan had the edge going into the decision, and Kelvin Russell, a 4-star, fringe 5-star, ranked top 50 over in the country, attends Northwestern High School in Miami. Was supposed to announce his decision at his birthday party at 9 p.m. on Saturday. And so like I was at my friend's uh lake house for most of the day and I get home shortly before 9 and I'm waiting around. I'm like, all right, what's typically they're a few minutes late. But it's like 9:45. And then like some of the rivals guys are like taking videos of the scene at his birthday party. It almost looked like a nightclub. I mean, obviously not because everyone I mean he's what I think just turned 18. So or 17. But it was just like a wild scene. It's like, yep, he still hasn't showed up yet at 9:45. I'm like, oh, is this going to happen? Is he not going to show up to his own birthday party to announce his commitment? He ended up doing it, and chose Syracuse, and what seemed like to be a stunning decision. It seemed like Michigan was the front runner for the past couple weeks. Obviously, a need there, a 6'5" freak athlete just seemed like it would pair well with Bryce Underwood and could be that a cornerstone receiver for the program, but decided to head to Syracuse and play basketball and football for the Orange instead. So kind of a tough blow for the Wolverines there, but that's kind of the nature of recruiting, especially in this NIL world.
I actually watched or I tuned into the Calvin Russell video, like you said, Zook, and he was late, and I eventually flipped it off and then I saw he committed to Syracuse. I'm like, I'm not wasting my Saturday night watching this thing. But um, it, I don't. Do we really think basketball is going to play a factor here? Like, I feel like we hear this all the time from commits. Like, I'm going to this school because they're letting me run track. I'm going to this school because they're letting me play basketball. Like, that sounds great in theory. Once he gets there and gets into football camp and everything, is that really going to be a thing? I don't know. And it's also important to point out too, right? Like the recruitment isn't done here. Like he hasn't signed on the dotted line. So there's always a potential for a flip. Michigan, I think, is still in play. And there's no doubt about it, as are probably other schools. But this is one of those recruitments that is probably going to go down on the wire for me, just based on his desires, the oddity of picking Syracuse over Michigan, not to knock Syracuse, good school and everything else, but it's not a football power. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I thought that was a interesting commitment on that night.
And a lot of it, like because there was music blaring, I think there was probably some copyright infringement going on. Like, so it went like it was muted for a while too. So I'm like, what? Like, it's just I'm like Saturday night on a holiday weekend, and this is like it's so like Andrew said earlier. Like, I hope not too many people were wasting too much time of their holiday weekend just tuning into that for however many minutes. But Yeah, just a wild scene, and it just shows, like, I mean, he's had like 50 reported offers, like obviously a very coveted prospect. But yeah, but like Aaron said, yeah, there's signing day still like 5 months away, and a lot can happen between now and then.
Yeah, it's funny with the football and basketball thing. I mean, Michigan is better than Syracuse at both in recent years, obviously historically for football for sure, but basketball, Syracuse now it's 4 years in a row without making the NCAA tournament. They were under 500 last year, but again, maybe it doesn't matter. It's almost more likely than he could play basketball at a school like that than at Michigan. Football with a new coach last year, did go 10-3 and end up in the top 25 at the end of the year. But that was after several down years. So yeah, that alone, I think anyone seeing someone choose Syracuse over Michigan is surprising, but again, with NIL, it's like, all right, maybe they chose to go all in on this kid as opposed to Michigan, which is, you know, has more money, but is maybe just spreading it around a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing stopping from Michigan or other school to improving an NIL offer in the next few months too, and giving them more to think about. That's it's a crazy time, but that's just the world we live in, and we're going to see more flips and commitments. And I mean, look how many prospects Michigan flipped at the end of last cycle, and I think they're going to be playing more defense now at the end of this cycle because they have up to 21 guys already before the 2025 season even starts. So they're probably going to be like, hey, we need to keep you in the class instead of going after more other guys from other schools this time around.
That's just it, right? Like this is kind of round one of the recruiting cycle. Like, yes, kids are committing, and as you said, like last year, right before signing day, there were flips all over the country, not just in Michigan, just everywhere. Guys were getting better offers. They were, reading the tea leaves on their situations. Coaches were getting fired. Things were happening, and that will be a similar situation this fall. So it'll be on Michigan, obviously, win games, and as you say, play defense to hold on to their stack, so to speak. But like this is just part of it. Like the commitment's great and all, but like when it comes down to signing day and there's more money on the table from other schools, or other schools are getting desperate and they need a big player at a certain position, you're going to start seeing guys flip. So don't necessarily count on all these guys holding serve in Michigan. It would not shock me if you see a flip or two this fall. And look, Michigan's success on the field will play a factor in that. So they're going to have to hold up their end of the bargain as well and win some football games.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard all offseason about Chip Lindsey bringing more of a dynamic passing attack to this offense. But what if they don't really unleash Bryce Underwood his first year, still rely on the running game, and the receiving and passing numbers are still down? Maybe that's it. Not only do they not are not only are they not in the running anymore for Russell, maybe the Travis Johnson or Zion Robinson looks elsewhere too and say, hey, you know what? We were promised that Michigan was going to throw the ball more. It didn't really happen. Let's see what's out there. Or on the flip side, what if Bryce Underwood lights it up and it's like they show improvement, and it's like, man, imagine what they could do with even more weapons at his disposal. This could be something special, and they get in the running with even other receivers in this class and in future classes too. So yeah, the play on the field this year is still will play a big factor.
All right, well that's a lot of recruiting news that we just kind of filled you in on. Is there anything else we didn't say yet on the recruiting front, Ryan, or anything to look forward to in the upcoming days, or should it slow down a bit now, maybe?
Yeah, I mean it's going to slow down here a little bit until it's we're entering a dead period. Prospects are starting to get preparing for their senior seasons. There's obviously the big fish is still Savion Hyder, the 5-star running back whose Michigan's top remaining target. He announced a few days ago that his commitment date is coming soon, quotation marks. So who knows when that might be. That's the one I'm sure Michigan fans are most in tune. But they need to add a couple linebackers. That's the thing that I mean, they flipped Markel Dabney from SMU a couple weeks ago, but I mean they still need more at that position. So that's one, and I'm not. I don't think Michigan's really in the lead for any of their top remaining targets. They're in the mix for some guys, But it's hard to say confidently, like, yeah, I think they're probably the front runner, or have a good chance at landing at this point. So we'll see what Brian John Murray can do over the next few months and weeks to maybe get in the door with some more linebackers. But that's their biggest need, I'd say, at this point. No true safeties yet in this class. I would expect them to try and go after at least one safety. They have a couple corners now committed, so there's not many spots left, and there's not many guys who have commitment dates ready to roll. So it could slow down a little bit, but there are still some openings and that Michigan's going to try and fill.
I mean, regarding Hyder, I love it. An announcement that at some point there will be an announcement about the date on which he will announce his choice. So it's a few steps away, but here we are. All right. Well, that's football recruiting. Let's talk a little basketball here. And we can be recruiting as well. To start off here, the women's basketball program at Michigan added its first commit for 2026. Devin Cosgriff, 5'10" shooting guard, ranked number 63 in the class by the 24/7 Sports Composite. It's kind of a new thing, the composite for the women's recruiting, with more outlets, I guess, providing rankings. Number 69 at ESPN, so similar number there. She's entering her senior year of high school now. Played last season at Archbishop Midi in San Jose, California. It's a pretty high-end program. They reached the state championship. Before that, she was at a Bishop O'Dowd in Oakland. But yeah, first player to commit for 2026. Obviously, Michigan's got still a pretty young team overall. There's many of their stars last year were freshmen, so they'll be sophomores this year. They've got a 3-player freshman class coming in this year, all of whom are top 100 prospects per ESPN. So they've got their first one. Still none on the men's side for Michigan basketball for 2026. There was 3 Wolverines playing in FIBA events, 2 in the under-19 World Cup in Switzerland on the men's side. Morez Johnson Jr., the transfer from Illinois, who hasn't actually played for Michigan yet, won gold with the United States. He was the team leader in points with 15 and rebounds with 10 in the gold medal game, which was a blowout win over Germany. He averaged a little over 9 points, a little over 6 rebounds in the event, shot 59% from the field, blocked a team high 12 shots. He had some impressive dunks in this thing. It's his second gold medal. So he'll be now able to come to campus shortly. Oscar Goodman, who was a red shirt last year. Remember him from New Zealand. He joined the team in January, but didn't play in games. He suited up for his native New Zealand. The Tall Blacks, as the team is known, got crushed by the United States in the semis, and then lost 91-87 to Slovenia in the semis. They got crushed by United States in the semis, and then lost to Slovenia in the bronze medal game. But before I say more about Goodman, I know that nickname maybe seems racist. It's a play off the All Blacks name of their well-known rugby team in New Zealand, which is named that because of their uniforms. Some of the other sports kind of do plays off of that. Obviously, tall people generally play basketball. Anyway, Oscar Goodman, he left that bronze medal game in the first quarter with an apparent right ankle injury and did not return. So hopefully that's not too serious. Maybe we'll get some news once he's back in Ann Arbor. He started all 7 games. He averaged 6.4 points, 5.1 rebounds, had a nice game in a quarterfinal win over the host country, Switzerland. And like I said, now we can get closer to getting the whole roster together for Michigan. I talked to Dusty May 1 week ago today, and several guys weren't there yet. Obviously, Morez and Oscar, but also Adai Mara, the UCLA transfer, and Malik Cordell, the incoming recruit from Germany. Mara's from Spain, and Cordell, like I said, from Germany. So they were just going through the visa process. I mean, I asked Dusty if there was any concerns about that, and he said no. So yeah, I mean, there's reason to think there could be with, what's going on in the world, but yeah, he doesn't expect any holdups there. So yeah, but as of a week ago, they were not there. Yeah, I can just share a couple more things that he said. He's talking about. I asked about the freshmen, and he said, like, typically in most years, if you sign 3 players, which Michigan does have, if you don't count Oscar Goodman, who came last year, you got uh, Ricky Liburd, Cordell, as I mentioned. Well, you got Winters Grady, and of course the Mr. Basketball in Michigan, Trey McKinney. So I guess 4 guys now. But he said one pleasantly surprises you, one's a little disappointing, and one's probably exactly what you thought. And he just doesn't know, like, this early, who those players will be. But you can expect maybe 1 or 2 of them to be part of the rotation, but probably not all of them with such a veteran team. And I guess the encouraging thing is, he said, we feel much further ahead of where we were 1 year ago than we were 1 year ago today. So that was obviously his first year entering the program. He said there's more known entities on the roster as far as just the individual pieces, which makes sense. Just some more proven guys at kind of this level. So yeah, still of course questions of how it'll all fit, but yeah, he's happy with where things are now. And then the final update from that FIBA is on the women's side. Silas Swords. This was in the FIBA AmeriCup, which is not a junior tournament like the other one was for players under 19 years old. This has pro players in their upper 20s, early 30s in some cases. Swords was the youngest Canadian on her team, one of the youngest in this whole event, and she was fantastic. She made the All-Star 5 for this event. She hit the game winner to give Canada the bronze medal on Sunday. And yeah, she struggled a little bit offensively in the loss to the United States in the semis, but yeah, bounced back in a huge way to help Canada earn a medal with game high 23 points against Argentina, including that game winner. It was a inbounds pass with a couple seconds left. She caught it under the hoop, laid it in. Shot at the buzzer was way off. And yeah, she averaged nearly 10 points, nearly 5 rebounds, over 2 assists over the 7 games, and yeah, earned her 3rd bronze medal with Canada. She also played for the Olympic team last summer, so she won't turn 20 until January. She's a rising sophomore on Michigan with that great class, and yeah, their practices are underway as well.
Still one of the best names in basketball too.
Yeah. All right, so that's a basketball update. We hit you with football as well. There'll be you can find more coverage on all these sports at MLive.com/Wolverines. Thanks for listening.